For head teachers, conducting effective interviews for support staff roles has become increasingly important. Our panel of experienced former heads has gathered to pass on their top interview tips for hiring a business manager. First, let's meet the team. Alan Key, now retired, has 36 years' experience in education, with 15 as a head teacher. Peter Lawrence is Development Director at a trust of 8 schools. He has over 30 years' experience in education, 13 of them as a head teacher. Colin Richardson, also retired, has a total of 41 years' experience in education, with 16 spent as a head. The panel has received an email from new head teacher Stephen.
I'm conducting an interview to hire a full-time business manager to lead in the financial running of the school. I really don't know what to ask, as I'm not an expert of finance. Can you help me with any advice on how to focus and take control of the interview and make sure I hire the best person for the job?
Becoming more and more common, isn't it? The hiring of a business manager or a finance manager. So
they want someone who has a business background but can also transfer those skills into managing a school situation. And that's the dilemma for a lot of schools. How do you link people who have been involved in the business world with the world of education? And to get that balance is very important.
I'd say to Stephen, be really well prepared for this, and take advice, because from whatever area you can get that, a colleague head teacher or from the local authority, but it's becoming more and more a common role in schools as business managers. So out there will be really good examples of job descriptions and person specifications that you could look at.
Governors can often help here, because often governors come from a business background, don't they?
There'd be an opportunity there, wouldn't there, to put together a really good interview panel, try and get people from the governing body of different backgrounds involved in this process as compared with taking on a teacher.
The panel's first piece of advice is to prepare well and take advice from knowledgeable colleagues and governors.
I think also it probably would be a case of this colleague being a member of a leadership team, wouldn't it? And there you'd also want to look for their personal qualities and their values, and,
of course, yes.
And whether they can work in a school setting, because often the ethos of a school is very different, isn't it, from more corporate worlds.
I always found it useful to explore how you think the prospective candidate will handle themselves in a school situation, because they may have an office with business manager on the door and be detached to some degree in the role, but they're going to be moving around the school on a day-to-day basis. They're going to be interacting with students on the corridors and around the school, and you have to be satisfied that they understand what their role will be in that particular situation as they move around the school, and you've got to be satisfied that they will be able to handle that situation as well. So you do have to take a broader view than just what they could actually offer in terms of their administrative skills. Yeah.
Because they have to have good communication skills and man management skills to work with heads of department, heads of faculty, to say, well, you've overspent, you get no more money, or to monitor really what's going on.
The panel's second tip is to ensure that the candidate has the personal qualities needed to fit into the school environment.
There are qualifications now, aren't there, for school business managers, and I think one of the first things you'd probably advise him is to make sure that they've either got one of those qualifications or are willing to do them.
Some of the mistakes many schools fall into are appointing people who are good at operational tasks in terms of financial management, but not strategic tasks. And there's that other element that you need to actually help plan and move the school forward, because there's lots of savings you can make around energy, around facilities management, if you have the right person. But also staffing issues, issues which crop up and have it's a cycle of activity which actually advises the head teacher about the implications of appointing extra staff or doing certain things. There's that dimension, the strategic dimension, which is important for this role.
It's not just about calculating budgets.
No, it's not. Many schools now do get into trouble because they don't manage the finances effectively and don't strategically look forward and plan for the future. And I think having someone of the right calibre will bring a new dimension to the school.
The panel's final tip is to look for a candidate who's fully qualified to take a strategic role.
If he makes the right appointment and gets the right person with the right skill sets, not only will he be having a really valuable colleague to help him in his head teacher role, but he will actually be contributing significantly to the teaching and learning in the school, because the two things will go hand in hand and he will notice a significant difference.